Edition of the Big Show on your Total Sports Station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey and Brendan Schaefer here. Thanks for coming on in as we talk some baseball. It is just the feeling in the air now, and that certainly seems to be the case for the St. Louis Cardinals. We're going to talk about what happened yesterday and maybe even what happened a couple days ago on this show when we heard, bozo takes like this one. I want to think that JJ Wetherholt's going to burst out and completely take reins of this team as the face going forward. Maybe he challenges Mason Wynn for that. I don't know. I'd love to think that, and I'm excited to see him, and I want him to do well. Is he going to be eaten up by all this early hype? Clearly, this is a larger stage and more eyeballs, more spotlight. I don't see JJ Wetherholt breaking out in a big way this year. I don't know why, but I'm apprehensive to say that he's going to figure it out right away. Wow, nailed it. Wow.
I don't think he got anything wrong there. All he did yesterday was homer.
He was only 1 for 4.
Field.
Gosh. Yeah, he looks like he's going to be pretty good. I don't know. Hey, you got to see him. He looks pretty good.
First Cardinals since 1957 to get his first hit and homer in the same at bat on opening day, but no big deal.
I mean,
JJ Wetherholt, going to be some fun, folks. What a day at Busch. Wow.
Is everything else going to be fun too? Is this just how it's going to go?
Fun team? Maybe.
We're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the Royals too. Could be an interesting opener tonight, certainly when you look at the lineup and what that signal might mean. We're going to talk with Rob Veno at wagertalk.com at 4:25 to talk some college basketball. We'll have our picks of the week at 5:25. We'll get you to Mizzou baseball coverage as well at 5:45. Lots to get to today, but let's get to this first.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Yeah, so the Cardinals had some fun yesterday afternoon at Busch Stadium. The home opener, opening day. They trailed 7-1 at one point. Their only tally was a solo home run by the aforementioned JJ Wetherholt. And I thought, that's a pretty good storyline. Everybody will be happy enough. Cardinals lose, but at least JJ showed us something. Well, the rest of the team showed us something too. In that 6th inning, 8-run rally for the Cardinals. Flipped the script from 7-1, made it 9-7, 8 different hits. Just about contributions from everybody in the order. And Alec Burleson, the exclamation mark, sending it way out to right field. His first home run of the season gave the Cardinals a 2-run lead that they did not relinquish despite the back end of the bullpen having a little bit of an adventurous time in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. They got it done. Shout out Riley O'Brien for that strikeout of Junior Caminero. Cardinals win 9-7. They're 1-0, 161 more to go. That is your Big Show's Big Deal on this 27th day of March, 2026. Andy, it was electric at Busch Stadium. I
Felt
mean,
that way.
The fans, look, they've been briefed on what this is gonna look like. That there's no Wilson Contreras, there's no Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray's gone. They didn't really go out and add a bunch of salary this offseason. They did the opposite. Brendan Donovan is a Mariner. He homered, by the way, in his first at bat.
First at bat, man,
was just cool to see. But the Cardinals, without all those guys, the new identity of the team now begins to form, and we got a glimpse of it, I think, yesterday. Yeah, JJ Wetherholt, your leadoff batter, and didn't do it in his first at-bat, but his second plate appearance goes for the home run, and he's doing, like, big league stuff already, Andy. He was down 0-2. His mom was interviewed on the TV broadcast, said she thought he was going to strike out at that point, and JJ said, oh, that's just how she is. I know she gets nervous. I guess his mom, Holly, asked him after the game if he was nervous about, getting down 0-2, nervous. And he said, I wasn't nervous. I was nervous because I knew you were nervous. And he put on a show there for his mom and for everybody else at Busch Stadium. 0-2, pitch away from him, out of the strike zone. He just kind of throws the bat at it. He told me, Andy, that he was understanding that the pitcher, Rasmussen, might look to pitch him away, try to get him to chase. And so he said, if it was low enough in the zone where I could maybe just kind of take a hack at it, I was going to take a, quote, lighter swing He took a lighter swing and launched it 425 feet to dead center field onto Freeze's lawn.
It's a casual little, a flick of the wrist.
Ball, that's not supposed to happen.
No,
that type of swing is not to produce that type of result. After the game, I could tell that Alec Burleson didn't want to take away from the moment for Wetherholt, but he admitted in the clubhouse afterward, he's like, knowing Bush. And he said, knowing Bush a couple of times to kind of preface his comment. He's like, I didn't think that was going to get out. The way that he got it, I didn't think that was going to be a homer in this ballpark, which is notorious for taking away swings that are deserving of home runs. And in this instance, Burley goes, ball just kept carrying. And it left the yard. It was impressive. It was a lot of what we've heard about JJ Wetherholt personified in his first game.
Well, and there was a swing he had later of a ball that did get eaten up by Bush, I think, a little bit. Like the sac fly when they were rallying, I think that's a swing that I think could usually produce a home run in other ballparks, but it didn't there. And
I didn't look at the exit velo and stuff on that, but you might be right. Right field is a lot of time. Like, you remember Matt Carpenter, that always was happening to him as he, in kind of the later years, off the bat, right? I'm up there in the press box and I'm already writing the JJ Wetherholt story today. We know that. And I'll admit my eyes got a little wide on that sac fly because I thought maybe he got it all. And JJ even said, would have been cool if it would have went a little bit further. Like, he's 23 and doesn't know any better. And it just says what he thinks. It's kind of fun, that youthful exuberance of a guy. But Andy, I think that's part of what was brilliant about yesterday for these Cardinals is they're full of guys like that. 23, 24, 25, 26. That's what they're made of. Matthew Liberatore, a younger guy making the start, gives them 5 solid innings in a 91-degree day.
It's good, man.
Late March, it felt like late July. And so 78 pitches, that was plenty. They've got a lot of guys like that. And I think that energy was felt. And I feel like the fan base is ready for that. And look, it's not going to be like this every day. But the energy that they exuded it reflects a style of baseball that I think Cardinal Nation can appreciate, regardless of the number of wins they accrue at the end of the season. If they continue to play like that, which we got vows from Ollie Marmol and Burley both yesterday, that's what Cardinals fans are going to get when they come to the ballpark this year. If they keep playing like that, I think Cardinals fans are going to buy in. I really do.
If you have thoughts on the Cardinals opening game, call or text us, 573-875-KTGR. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube and Facebook channels. We're live right now, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports and Facebook.com/KTGR Big Show. The immediate response was what I was most impressed by.
It was a 51-minute inning. After the Rays
both ends, both top half and bottom half. That
14 combined runs. Took an hour, damn near.
I mean, for your sake, glad that the game on the whole, I think, was only about 3 hours. It was around that mark, I think.
Still
usually
a long game.
Well, yeah, now it is. If that game were played 5 years ago, then the game was 3.5 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
But
it was clock, by the way.
It was, yes, absolutely. Both teams, once they got to the bullpens, it became an adventure. And so maybe you wonder about that a little bit.
In one inning.
Yeah, exactly. Riley O'Brien, the fact that they have a rule that I kind of learned about today, that you can give a win to a relief pitcher.
You can.
That was maybe more effective than the guy who benefited from being the last pitcher that was on the mound before his team mounted a furious comeback right after he allowed the team to lose the lead or make it worse, whatever it was.
Chris Roycroft got tagged with the brief but ineffective, or brief and ineffective.
Not used very much, but in cases like yesterday where that is a very
times a
rare
year
occurrence.
You see it. Yeah. But what was weird about that is I think they might have initially tried to give Roycroft, and then they're like, no, not going to do that. Yeah. Which, by the way, he got Roycroft again. This is the same stuff that happens to him. It kind of some softer contact, and it's just some weird stuff.
The whole inning was that. It was all death by 1,000 paper cuts for the Cardinals pitching staff there.
And I'll be honest, new guy, first day covering the Cardinals for MLB.com and Cardinals.com. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is a cinch. Wetherholt homered. Everybody's going to read about that. Write about JJ Wetherholt. And I did. But then the Cardinals scored 8 runs in one inning, and I was like, gotta write a second story. So I was there pretty late last night, but like you wouldn't trade it for anything. That was a lot of fun to cover. But yeah, it was very bizarre. I think they tried to give the win anyway to Liberatore, which I don't even know if they can do that.
I don't think
where
they
give it to a starter who didn't have the lead when he left.
No.
You can choose a different reliever. And if you watch that game, Riley O'Brien had the key moment of the game with the strikeout of Junior Caminero to get out of the jam in the inning that he concluded. So he was the right choice, I think, for the win. But yeah, I mean, you saw a fist pump from Riley O'Brien, who I guess he's actually one of the elder statesmen. We don't really think of him as an older player.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Ryan Stanek probably plays that for the Cardinals bullpen at the moment.
And that's why you sign him, right? Is to have a true veteran. But like Riley's 31. Riley's my age. But he's still kind of finding his footing. Hey, just like me. But he gives a fist pump after he gets off the mound, getting Caminero. You get a couple of fist pump moments from Victor Scott II, who had a base hit, had a bunt hit as part of that eight-run rally. Couple of stolen bases. He induced a balk. Nathan Church is taking home runs away. Like that guy was
darn impressive yesterday. Like,
really,
we're not
Nathan Church.
We made you forget about Nelson Velasquez right away. Like a little bit.
Like that?
Unfortunate for Nelson Velasquez. Not to say that he's a bad hitter or anything, but there's probably maybe they knew something.
But we did. Pete, we made a big deal out of it, and we talked about the Velasquez thing. I think they wanted to get a look at Nathan Church, and it's been one game. But he has 3 hits. He takes away certainly extra bases. I think I saw a side angle where I think it
probably would have stayed in the park a little bit.
I think it might have hit the top and bounced over.
Yeah.
I like to err on the side of robbed it when it comes to these feats of
makes
athleticism.
It sound cooler. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's like the tie goes to the defense when it comes to home run robberies, in my opinion. But he had a really nice game. Went the other way for a 2-run single in the big rally. I mean, you got a little help from the Sun field. Jordan Walker's ground rule double in that inning was the infield was shaded, the outfield wasn't, and Cedric Mullins never found the baseball. And so, a little bit of a benefit there for Walker, the ball hitting the track and bouncing over the wall. But like the guys who you kind of think about what their style of play would be, they all kind of exhibited that a little bit in that inning. There was some small ball. There was some long ball from Alec Burleson. And I don't know. I think the Cardinals have a nice mix. I don't think you can expect 8-run innings all too often to negate 6-run deficits, but it's nice that for all of the talk in spring training of, hey, we don't know how many games we're going to win, but we're going to play this way, that the first game happens and they do that. They show you that that's what it can look like. And Ollie Marmol said, we're going to do it for 162. Burleson said, I know this was opening day and y'all packed the house, but we encourage you to come on out because this is how we're going to play all year. And if that ends up being true, there's no controversy of it. They're going to be a very likable team.
Yeah, they're going to be fun. And that would hopefully lead to more people realizing that and coming to watch them play. I would hope that that's the case. I know the fact that the real thing that only will boon attendance is the winning.
Winning games.
But like the fact that this team plays with that, we're overlooked type of mentality and we're just going to leave it all out there is something that embodies the community that they play for, if you ask me. Like
the fans were yearning for this comeback. Like at first you're kind of apprehensive. You're like, all right, they're doing a couple of fun things here. I don't really know how much it's going to matter. But then as it gets to like 7-5 and you're like, this is really probably going to happen. Like you just could feel the energy really building upon itself. And there's a lot of people that are, you hear from, you're like, oh, I haven't seen Busch like that since. And it's like, that's probably generally true. I feel like there have been some big moments, even during these more lean years, there have been some really fun moments. But like the symbolism of that's the first one of an era where there's a line of demarcation passing the torch to Chaim Bloom, and the way that veterans vacate the clubhouse because, hey, we're just not close enough to really feel like we can spend and go for it right now in 2026. But the guys that are left behind are like, whatever, we're going to go do our thing and be proud of, the style that we play. That very much embodies the style of baseball that Cardinals fans, I don't care what generation you're from, if you love the Cardinals in the 80s, if you liked them in the 90s, if you liked them during the 2000s when they were having more success, like I think people can appreciate good, hard baseball, and they've got a lot of guys who play it, I think.
And Cardinal fans are used to teams in the past developing that young talent and dealing with the core that they bring in themselves, more so than maybe free agents that come in,
Right.
or trades that happen. And look, there's been fairly a healthy mix of that over the last few years when the Cardinals were competitive. Now it's kind of dropped off, and those guys that you traded for are just not useful to you anymore. But this is kind of back to the roots of, I think, what made a lot of Cardinals fans. So that's hopefully what they recognize, the fact that, hey, I might not know off the top of my hand the entire lineup, what they want to do every single week, but doesn't mean that you can't go and be impressed by how these guys go about the game. And the fact that if they're doing that at age 24, 25, 26, imagine what happens when they can continue that further on into their career. And they want to do that more with St. Louis.
Some of these guys might be keepers is really, I think, what 2026 is about. Figuring out how many of them and which of them and what the role is for each, to where you could get to the end of the year and go, we didn't have a 1 through 9 that kept up the entire year, but we had 6 guys that we look at and go, you know what, there's something here. And by September, you may have gotten a glimpse of a Quinn Matthews, or gotten a glimpse of, you've seen more of Michael McGreevy. You might get a prospect for Dustin May. Let's say they're playing well and he's pitching well, but they're not in the race. They're going to trade him if that, comes to pass. And I think there's a chance they get somebody talented for him. You think about the Royals having Aroldis Chapman for 4 months and getting Cole Reagans out of that. Like, that could be the Dustin May move this year. So I do think it comes down to pitching at the end of the day, and I don't think they're going to score 9 runs a day offensively either. I think you can kind of have an idea what to expect from the offense. And the other thing about it is, offensively, 3 strikeouts as a team.
Yeah, Chris texted that in, saying that matters. Yeah.
That matters a ton for this type of team, because you may have games where your starter goes 5 innings and gives up 4 runs, and you may be down 4-3, needing, to find your way back in it. And sometimes manufacturing a run is how you tie that ball game up. I do think that the back end of the bullpen ends up being pretty formidable. It had its adventures yesterday, but I like Riley O'Brien. I think he can continue to evolve. I think Jojo Romero can continue to be a good option for them from the left side. Ryan Stanek will be interesting, because I don't think people pegged him as the closer coming in. It was not something that came up post-game, but my suspicion is that Oliver Marmol worked a little bit backwards with the bullpen in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, just because you knew the leverage spots were there after that crazy 6th inning. You wanted to try to get through a couple of clean innings. It's not to say that Stanek is not a valued member of the bullpen. I think he might normally be more 7th, 8th inning instead of 9th, but that's just the way that it went, where the leverage spots were. And he ended up coming through in the 9th, despite having a couple of walks. And then I think you walk Caminero, not on purpose, but just to be like, we're going to go after Palacios instead. And it works out. So I don't think you could have had much of a better day if you were Oliver Marmol, and the way that he pulled some strings, and there was some fanfare about the lineup, and kind of feeling like Mason Wynn is not a prototypical cleanup hitter, and he's not. Another reporter even told me that he asked Wynn about it. He said, it's a little weird. But I think that there are aspects of this that you just say, look, we don't have a prototypical team, roster, lineup, what have you, but we'll put the pieces where they make the most sense and go out and play 9. And that's an attitude that I think Cardinals fans will embrace after the last couple of years where the messaging wasn't that crystal clear. It wasn't concise in that way. Now I think it is. And I think they're kind of rallying around that and saying, like, we're ready for that refresh, and, people can count us out, but we can kind of fuel ourselves with the notion that this doesn't have to be this, doldrums and rebuild and all these sorts of things that people kind of think of it as. They're 1-0, so they can celebrate today, and we'll see the longevity of it, but it was a lot of fun at Busch, no doubt.
We're trying not to overreact to one game, but it's hard not to see how fun it was based on how the Cardinals went about getting back into it. We'll see if that starts in a series victory. If they can win one of the 2 games this weekend, off today, then Saturday and Sunday they play at 1:15. You can hear it on 100.5 KTGR this weekend. And give us your Cardinals thoughts at 573-875 KTGR. We're going to talk to Rob Veno coming up next segment. But let's talk about the Royals for a bit here as they start tonight in Atlanta against the Braves here. Brendan, I'm going to give you their lineup for tonight, and you tell me if there is anything weird about it. All right?
Okay.
Give you their lineup. All right? Here we go.
Weirder than Mason Wynn cleanup?
You be the judge of that.
Okay, I will be.
All right. Michael Garcia, third base. Bobby Witt.
I don't think that's that weird.
No. I'm just reading it.
Okay.
You can stop me if you want. Bobby Witt, shortstop. Batting second.
That's correct. He should bat second.
Lane Thomas, center field.
Lane Train. Okay. Keep going. I'm
Salvi, catcher. Pasquantino, first base.
Yeah.
Starling Marte, right field. Jonathan India, second base. Isaac Collins, left field. Carter Jensen, DH.
Is there somebody that's not in it? Or is it just the Lane Thomas of it all? What am I missing?
What are you missing?
Give me the answer. Am I missing somebody?
No.
Bobby Witt's in there.
No Jack Caglione.
Oh, my goodness. Who's the pitcher? Who pitching?
It's Chris Sale. Chris Sale eats lefties for breakfast. That's he's opponents are like 160 last year.
So, but
lefties are against him.
There are times though where you will overlook that on opening day.
Well, exactly. The thing is it's kind of both. I admire Matt Quatrero putting in a bunch of righties in this lineup and saying, look, we still need to try and win this game. We need to have favorable matchups here. So he's got 7 right-handed bats in there. There are 2 left-handed bats. One of them's Vinny Pasquantino. That makes sense. Put him in, obviously.
He's a guy that doesn't strike out a ton. He's more stable than what we saw from Caglione. Okay.
But then the other one is the 9-hitter at DH, Carter Jensen, who's the backup catcher.
Yep.
Also, a very highly touted prospect in the Royals system. He came up last year in September and actually
he did well.
Was very good. 940 OPS in 60 at-bats.
He's like a top 20 prospect in a lot of these lists coming into the year.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's still prospect eligible. I didn't realize he was number 11 in Baseball America, top 100 prospect.
He's way up there.
That's crazy. I mean, good for him.
Still a big time guy. Now Caglione is higher, a lot of that.
Now Caglione,
obviously
did
more
he graduate?
hype. I think so. He must have.
But he was top 5.
Yeah, and being a top 5 overall pick, you're gonna get that, and obviously there. But I think it's also kind of an indication of look. It didn't go all that well last year. Now, granted, he was thrown into a tough situation. Early June, they called him up. The offense was doing zilch, and they said,
they asked him to be the hero, which we
to
said,
be
don't
at
do
least
that,
a spark to it. But even he couldn't even do that. So his first taste of Major League Baseball, not great. And they sent him down. I think some of that was also kind of injury related. But as he rehabbed that injury, it made him take a little more time. Just get the feel back, and then we'll see if there's a spot to bring it back up here.
This is interesting because I'm even looking at the splits, and it's minuscule the amount of exposure that Jensen had against lefties last year. It just 2 for 12, 167, couple of singles, couple of walks, 450 OPS. Against lefties, Caglione was 631. He was in the big leagues, reverse splits technically.
Yeah.
631 OPS compared to a 492 from the other side. Now he's a sub 200 hitter either way. But his numbers were actually better against lefties last year than his numbers against righties were in a small sample. Jensen, small sample, struggled against lefties. I wonder, and it's they're both top prospect-y type of guys, and so I don't know that you'd protect the delicate sensibilities of one and not the other. But for Caglione, I think he had a really strong spring, and I think they want to, just kind of lean in on him having a completely blank slate coming into this year compared to what it was last year. And so maybe we don't start you off with Chris Sale as your first assignment.
Yeah.
And the other part of this is I didn't know off the top of my head, but the Royals do start out on the road in Atlanta. If it's a home opener, is Caglione in there compared to, it's the first game, but it's on the road. So it's not there's fanfare associated with that. I think it's interesting. And the Lane Thomas batting third of it all really tells you that, they're trying to lean into give themselves the best chance to win the first game. It's interesting. I think Caglione, where would you, knowing this information about today, where would you set the over-under on Caglione starts in the Royals lineup this year?
Oh, all season?
Yep.
Oh, I'd set it at around.
Assuming health.
If he's healthy all year and he plays the way that we think he should, it's at least 100 where I would still set it if he's going to be
I would
that way.
slam the over. I think he's going to start 125, 130 plus games. Like, he's going to play the majority of the time. How many lefties are Chris Sale? And if, and there'll be times where you're ready to expose him to the Chris Sale. I think he's going to play a ton. Probably more than 130 starts, assuming health. He could have a 10-day stint on the IL and still start 130 games. I think he's going to play a ton. But if we see another example of this against a tough lefty soon, and it's Lane Thomas in there again, and then that could be interesting if this is going to be more platoony. But I don't expect that. I don't read into this decision that way. But it is interesting, to your point.
Yeah, I mean, again, like there were other lefty bats that they didn't put out. Like, they usually put Kyle Isbell out there because his defense is so good in center. But look, not going to have him this year. Go today. Yeah, exactly.
When you've got Marte, and like maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're really going to be like the Rays in the way of strictly platooning, and you got some veteran bats that may not hold up over 500 plate appearances, but they might hold up over 300, and so they may attack it more platoon oriented.
It'll be very interesting. But again, tonight, no Jack Caglione in the opening day lineup for the Royals. What do you read into that, if at all? But call or text us if you're wanting to chime in on the Royals here, 573-875-KTGR. Royals at the Braves tonight at 6:15 to open up their season. In the meantime, it's also the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Some interesting games last night. We'll discuss them with Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com as he also tells us his favorite bets for the rest of the weekend. That's next on The Big Show.
The best subscriptions in life are free. Subscribe to KTGR on YouTube to watch The Big Show and other exclusive content. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports.
Nobody wants to be picked last or finish last in the standings. Last strike of the last inning? Nope. And you never want to be the last one finishing your laps at practice. So when baseball and softball season get here, don't wait until the last minute to gear up either. Head to Play It Again Sports in Columbia. They've got everything your athlete needs for the upcoming baseball and softball seasons, plus gently used equipment too. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. PlayItAgainSportsColumbiaMo.com.
Okay, we now have Steve from Steve's Pest Control. He'll be addressing your questions on the spring invasion. Steve?
Front corner, Steve. Front corner. I have a question, Steve.
Hi, let's start with you, sir, in the third row.
Last year's fall invasion was terrifying for many families. How do you propose we deal with the invaders this spring?
Well, not to worry. First thing, just call us to Steve's Pest Control. We'll get you started on a 5-star Advantage plan.
Steve, is it true that the pests are becoming self-aware?
No, not really, no.
And that they're trying to enslave the entire human race?
That's fake news.
Steve, I'm over here, back corner. Steve.
But Steven, is it true that there could be hundreds of termites living underneath my home?
Honestly, it's more like millions. Folks, it's okay. All you have to do is calmly, quietly pick up your phone and call us at Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem and keep you protected. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds. And we feel great.
Hypnosis, only $59.99. Thursday, April 23rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Shangri-La Dispensaries has always been there for your medicinal and recreational needs. Now they need your vote in Best of Columbia 2026. Voting is open for Inside Columbia's Best of Columbia, and Shangri-La is up for Best Dispensary. You can vote for Shangri-La once a day between now and April 12th. Just go to InsideColumbia.net. Shangri-La would like to thank all their loyal patients and customers for letting them be there for your medicinal and recreational needs. Shangri-La Dispensaries is Paradise Found.
Just like you, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill is excited about watching Mizzou hoop it up in March this year. So put on your black and gold, grab your brackets, and meet your friends at 1851 Underground. With daily drink specials and half-off select appetizers for happy hour, it's a perfect place to take in the tournament. They've also got great Saturday specials on Bloody Marys and mimosas. It's no secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton. 1851underground.com.
Do-it-yourself projects are getting a lot more popular, and that's great. Some things you gotta leave to the pros, like welding. Think of it like watching your favorite team and yelling at the guy who biffed the play that you so easily could have made. No, you couldn't. Or you'd be out there doing it. Leave the sports to the pros and the welding to Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. Repair work to custom fabrication. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. Kretsch'sCustomExteriors.com.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here as we look to college basketball now and the betting angles around it with Rob Veno. Joins us now on the KTGR hotline. Go and see his great work over at wagertalk.com. And you can also follow him on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports. Robbie, now that half of the Sweet 16 is in the books and we see the next half now, it seems that there still aren't too many surprises other than Iowa. I mean, it's still alive and able to take their shot at a Final Four chance here in not too short order. I mean, other than that, we've seen an NCAA tournament that, and it's kind of been a trend the last couple of years, not really showing a ton of upsets when we create this round, at least in the second weekend. How have you kind of see it play out?
Yeah, pretty much the same. The first couple of days are the days where you're going to get, the shockers if you're going to get them. And then for somebody to go on a run like Iowa has gone on, even though they're not a mid-major or a low major, I really doubt a lot of people had Iowa selected to be in an Elite Eight. But aside from that, once you got past the high point stuff, you expect that the better squads will win. Last night, we actually had a 2 versus 3 as far as seeding is concerned, and a tightly lined ball game between Houston and Illinois, where Illinois looked much the better of the two. So, it's been a nice tournament for the Big Ten so far. I'll say that.
It certainly has. It's kind of led to a lot of discourse there, obviously. But was it kind of surprising to see a couple of those blowouts right away? Maybe not from the Arizona and Arkansas angle of it. Arizona's looked like one of the best in the country so far, but just the way that Illinois, again, as you mentioned, in what was billed to be a pretty nip and tuck game, just took Houston's game to them and was able to really come away with a strong victory.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a lot like the Iowa State situation, except that Illinois is not injured the way Iowa State is heading into tonight with, will Joshua Jefferson play? Will he not play? But back from the beginning of the season, mid-season, I want to go as far as to say maybe 2/3 of the season. I was of the firm belief that Illinois could be a Final Four team, and of the firm belief that Iowa State was going to be at least an Elite Eight team, possibly in a Final Four team as well. And then they both sort of fell off everybody's radar. Illinois struggled somewhat with injuries. Iowa State struggled. Some of theirs not as easily explainable other than they played inside the Big 12 and you have to run a gauntlet at some course in time during the season. And they were somewhat forgotten. And here we go with Illinois bouncing back and showing us that they've got the potential, guys. I mean, it's not a surprise if they make their way to the Final Four and even cause trouble inside the Final Four. They've got the personnel, and if Iowa State could get Joshua Jefferson back to full strength, then, they were here last year with a lot of the same pieces, except last year they had the same problem. They were injured and got knocked out early. So I don't know. Those two teams, I think, after that first wave of one seeds that we talked about to start with, the Michigans, the Floridas, the Arizonas, and Dukes, there didn't seem like there were a lot of other teams that could challenge. But 2/3 of the way through the season, I think I'm in a large boat that thought Illinois could contest with those teams, as could Iowa State, but they did kind of fall off the radar. And now here they are; they're back again.
Yeah, Illinois, obviously, Rob, is going to have an opportunity as a favorite to go to the Final Four in their matchup against Iowa coming up tomorrow. But I want to ask you a little more about that Iowa State team because, they've dealt with some unfortunate situations revolving around injury, but they're still favored this evening over Tennessee. How do you view the specifics of that matchup between those two teams, both looking to get to the Elite Eight?
It is interesting. It's kind of an odds maker's indictment against Tennessee, I would think, because Jefferson, even if he does play, you can't guarantee anything beyond a certain amount of minutes. You can't guarantee that he's going to be the same player. I don't even know that he's going to play. I kind of took the stance with this game that he would be, even if he's in, he's somewhat of a non-factor. But for where Tennessee is concerned, to be an underdog of this size, 4 points against a team who's, I don't even think it's arguably. Joshua Jefferson is their best player overall. And it just doesn't say much for Tennessee. Now, problems for Tennessee really quick, guys. I've seen this all season long. At least I've felt this. This has been my opinion of them all season long. Kind of a two-man team. Jacoby Gillespie, spot close to my heart because he was a Belmont point guard a couple of years ago, and then Maryland, and now here. Gillespie and Nate Ament, the freshman. And aside from that, they've got, decent surrounding parts. Akpara is certainly a force on the inside, but scoring-wise, just not a lot of options for Tennessee to go to throughout the season outside of those two guys. And Iowa State has enough scoring to match up. My personal feeling on this game tonight is it'll be a rock fight. I just don't know. This total, Brendan, was 139.5, I think, this morning when I played it and released it for clients, under the 139.5. And under doesn't come out of my mouth all that often. But here, I think you'll probably see slower pace. Like I say, Tennessee's so great at rebounding, kind of a one-trick pony, but they do clean the glass on both ends of the floor. So any missed opportunities by Iowa State shouldn't really create second chances here. And I don't think Tennessee just is good enough offensively to fight off the Iowa State defensive pressure. So for me, this was an under. Wouldn't be surprised at whoever wins it. I would love to see Iowa State at full strength maybe come Sunday if Jefferson can make his way back. And if they win, of course.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Also tonight, Duke's been a team that, as a top overall seed, maybe hasn't looked all to that point through their first couple of games. They've got St. John's here, and St. John's, of course, with the dramatics they had to beat Kansas to advance to this round. I mean, obviously, everyone looks at this coaching matchup. Rick Pitino's been here, done that, and John Shire's been very good too, but obviously not as experienced here. How do you kind of see the dynamic playing into that 6.5 number for Duke, as they're still getting a lot of that respect, but maybe it could be a closer game?
Yeah, this it's difficult, obviously, but I think the handicap for me was somewhat more simplistic here. Duke has just about everybody back now, right? And Ngangba played the other night to give them another big man down low. We'll see if Caleb Foster can go or not. I don't really depend on that in my playing Duke minus 6.5 in this game. What I'm kind of depending on here is you just can't trust St. John's to make shots. The scoring droughts are just too much to overcome. At some point, they did overcome it against Kansas. They hung on for dear life. Got a 50-foot straight line drive to the hoop to win a game that they should have won far more easily than they did. But for St. John's, you just can't go through those lulls where you don't make shots. Prior to this game against Kansas, the one that stuck out in my mind even further than the Kansas game, which was more recent, was the game against UConn, where they missed 24 shots in a row down the stretch and got absolutely destroyed. If you have a 4.5-minute drought or 5-minute drought against Duke, to me, it doesn't really matter how good your defense is. Duke's going to build some kind of margin that you're not going to recover from, because on the defensive end, Duke is probably still undervalued by most, and they're as good as it gets in a half-court defense. So forcing St. John's to have to make shots is going to be troublesome, because I think, Zebi Ejiofor is going to have his problems down low for sure against Duke. Duke's got a lot of bodies down there, including, of course, a freshman All-American in Boozer. So I did lay the points with Duke here. I think they have more shot makers in the end, and I think they've got more than enough interior size and ability to – you never shut Ejiofor down. His motor is just relentless, but to contain him somewhat in the statistical column, I think Duke probably wins this one by 8+. So I like Duke minus the 6.5.
Robbie, there in that same region as part of the late slate tonight, you've got the game that is the most closely contested, at least according to what the odds are, on Michigan State and UConn, with UConn as a slight favorite, but this one feels really kind of like a coin toss in my mind. Do you see one side or the other having an edge in that matchup?
The only edge I found, guys, and it's why I took UConn, is I think depth is advantage UConn. They've just about got everybody back now. And I do think, if I'm not mistaken, I read this morning, in fact, I know I'm right on this, that they did get, or they will get Jalen Stewart back tonight. He was taken off of the injury list by the NCAA. So you're going to have, the 9-man rotation that Danny Hurley started the season with is what he'll have here. And what's great about UConn is that they have positional depth at all 5 spots. If you lose your point guard, we saw it the other day, right? Solo Ball was playing miserable basketball, couldn't make a shot. Well, we'll just go to Malachi Smith, the Dayton transfer, and he steps in at point guard and runs the ship extremely well. And shooting guards, small, but maybe Alex Caravan's the only somewhat irreplaceable. But again, with Stewart and Ross at the wing and small forward spot, they've got great backups. And then again, where Terrace Reed is concerned, I know the freshman Reeby 7'2" isn't Terrace Reed, but he's certainly a capable replacement. So they have all of that. Where Michigan State is kind of dependent upon Jeremy Fears, and the bench is not as deep. Michigan State, to their credit, has shot the three way better than they've shot it in the past. And so that'll be an issue for UConn. But this is one of those instances, guys, where I think if you're Dan Hurley, you game plan for these 4 days for your team to kind of take the head off the snake. Go after Fears, see if you can limit him. I don't know that Michigan State will have as big a advantage down low and rebounding as they generally do against other teams. And then UConn's got to make a couple shots. I mean, they haven't made shots all season long for the most part, and they've been somewhat banged up and they've been a little loose with the basketball. But I think in the end they can win this game by a bucket. I thought Connecticut on the money line here, minus 125, was the right way to go. Just forget about the point spread. Just give me the winner of the game. And I think in the end, UConn's depth will win out.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Robbie, what free pick do you like this weekend the most?
Well, let's round it out with the only one we didn't talk about, guys. I think I feel the strongest about this one here tonight. Michigan against Alabama. To me, it's an exact carbon copy of what we saw last night. Arizona, similar traits to what Michigan has. Arkansas, similar traits to what Alabama has. We saw Arizona simply destroy Arkansas. I think you could take it one of two ways here. I'll leave the choice up to the audience and to you guys. I think Michigan -9 is a good look. And I also think Michigan team total over 91.5 in a game, which will be a track meet, like the Arizona-Arkansas game last night. I think their team total over 91.5 is a good play too. So I'll leave that as the best bet for the show. The Michigan team total tonight over 91.
It's a lofty number, but it still even sounds right with how Michigan has been playing here. So always great to hear attorney thoughts from Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com. Go and check him out at Rob Veno Sports on Twitter and WagerTalk.com for some great betting info. Great to have him here on the Big Show, KTGR. Thanks, Robbie, for coming on. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk very soon.
Thanks, guys. Have a good weekend. Always a pleasure.
Big Show's on at 446, KTGR and the KTGR app. Had 2 fun games yesterday, 2 games that, done by midpoint of the second half, but going to be interesting tonight. I do kind of agree with you that it could be kind of close between Sparty and UConn, how that kind of goes, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I'm this is like pretty late in March Madness for me to still be kind of sweating my bracket, but I have 4.
You're doing well.
I have 4 teams that could win tonight. Like I'm alive in everything that's tonight. I only got 2 of the 4 winners last night. Illinois was one of them, and that's a little bit of it was like an upset, right? I think people were thinking Houston was the better seed and so could win. And I've got Illinois in the Final Four, which I don't want to count out that Iowa team at this point, but at least on the spread, I'm going to be favored in that one. So, yeah, I hope to go 4 for 4 tonight and take my best shot at this thing, but we'll see.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We'll put together a little rooting guide for college basketball and the rest of the weekend coming up at 5:05. But first, onto the bus coming up next. This all went down yesterday. Will Wade. Oh, boy. Go and clip some things back from a couple weeks ago from what he was saying about his job status. And, bring that back to now, and this is what you get. We'll get to all that madness next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Cardinals with an exciting come-from-behind win in their season opener yesterday over the Tampa Bay Rays. They won 9-7, scoring 8 runs in the 6th after Tampa had taken the lead with 6 runs in the 6th. Alec Burleson, the go-ahead 2-run homer to cap off that inning. Also, JJ Wetherholt with an impressive debut, homering in the 3rd inning for his first big league hit, opened up the scoring for both sides. Cardinals are off today. They finish out the series against the Rays at Busch Stadium this weekend. Both games will start at 1:15 Saturday and Sunday. You can hear them on 100.5 KTGR. Royals begin the season tonight with Cole Reagan's on the hill in Atlanta as the Royals take on the Braves. Chris Sale opposing for Atlanta. First pitch is at 6:15. Mizzou baseball tonight starts a 3-game set at home against Texas A&M. You'll hear all 3 of their games this weekend on KTGR. First pitch for tonight is at 6 o'clock. Mizzou softball also starting at 6 at Auburn for their next SEC series. Both Mizzou baseball and softball 1-5 in conference play. ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with Steve's Pest Control. With warmer weather, pests become very active. Steve's 5-star service and pest prevention will protect you 24/7.
We're tracking freezing temperatures tonight with a freeze warning in effect through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Cover-sensitive plants will bring those inside if possible, and temperatures will be warming back up this weekend. We're closer to 60 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Lows just back in the 40s by Sunday morning. Then high temperatures jump up to the 70s by Sunday and 80s by Monday and Tuesday as we stay dry. I'm meteorologist Nate Slater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
My name is Josh. I am an exterior project specialist with TrueSun Exteriors and Interiors. If you are living in an aging home, you may start noticing items around your home that need repair or replacement. For example, your roof, shingles blowing off, roof leak pop up over time. If you're in an aging home and you look at your windows, you may start to see fogging up between the glass so you can't quite get it clean, or sashes that don't quite open just right and don't lock just right. With something like siding, you're going to notice that your paint is fading, and that may be a sign it's getting old. Maybe the vinyl siding on your home is brittle. And finally, if you have a deck, this is a common item of failure. Your stairs start to get a little wobbly and feel unsafe. If you notice any of these things happening to your home, give us a call and we'll let you know whether it be repair or replacement. We're going to take care of you.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At TrueSun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. The nominations are in. Now it's time to pick the winners. Now through April 12th, you'll decide the winners for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026. Vote up to once per day for the businesses and places you love, including Best Salon, Best Place to Buy a Car, Best Sushi, or Best Chiropractic Office. You can vote once per day, so come back and support the businesses you love most. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Vote now through April 12th for your favorites at InsideColumbia.net.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Summer is coming. Are you ready? This is Michael Agnew at API Project Fitness. Now is the time to get moving. For a limited time, try our gym and all of our classes and expert coaching for just $1 for your first month. That's right, full access, real results, and a community that pushes you to be your very best, all for just $1. No pressure, no excuses, just progress. Stop waiting and start today for just $1. Find out more at apiprojectfitness.com.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis guaranteed or your money back, only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also stop smoking with hypnosis. No matter how many times you tried to quit, this hypnosis is designed to destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis Thursday, April 23rd, Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
So a couple weeks ago, Will Wade was asked by a reporter during a press conference about rumors of him potentially down the line taking the LSU job.
Right.
And he scoffed at the question. He was snide to the reporter about it, saying, is the job open? Is it open? No? Oh, okay. Like, buddy, it's all coming back now. When you essentially do a backdoor deal to come back to LSU, and then you agree to it, and then they fire their coach, Mac McMahon. So look, I'm not saying that Mac McMahon probably should have kept it. They probably writing was on the wall there, but it seemed that they wanted to have something in hand so that they could make that happen. And apparently it went all the way up to the governor again, Brendan.
That governor. That pesky Louisiana governor, I'll tell you what.
Jeez. So
I mean, Will Wade is not the bastion of ethics, as we know. But it's just how do people behave that way and not see the hypocrisy of it?
I know.
And then maybe they see it, but they just aren't fazed by it. That part of it always confuses me because, this is a very large elephant in this room, sir. Where would you like us to place this elephant? Over here in this corner? We'll put it over here. Why are you attacking the reporter for asking the question, which, as it turns out, is completely valid, and doing it in a way that undermines and kind of cuts to the point of how you got the job in the first place? It never really was open. There was no posting. There was no job opening.
No.
And why bring that up? It's when people get too close to the truth, there are certain people that they buckle under that pressure. And that's what occurred to Will Wade to say. And he's got more egg on his face. He doesn't care. There's no real repercussions for it, but we think you're a slime ball, and we'll continue to think that for whatever it's worth. Well,
I think that's right. And boy, LSU's got a lineup of coaches that are real easy to hate now. Between him and Lane Kiffin and Kim Mulkey.
Kim Mulkey she's one of a kind too. No kidding.
I mean, geez. Clearly, JJ Wetherholt yesterday in the second at-bat, hammering it to center field, 425 feet for his first big league hit, first big league home run. And I guess the teacher sharing that he predicted that he would be a big leaguer back in 5th grade, I suppose.
Yeah, there was a picture posted by Mars Area School District. Mrs. Inglesby was the 5th grade teacher for JJ and found a photo of him holding up, a little chalkboard and what do you want to be when you grow up type of vibe. And there's JJ, 5th grade, MLB player is what is written on the chalkboard.
There you go.
And, he's done that. So that's pretty cool that he had the vision, bro had the script, and ends up seeing it through for the first time yesterday, and many more big days ahead, I think, for JJ Wetherholt in Major League Baseball.
That was certainly a fun way to get it started. I tell you what, charging up the fans right away would have burned the place down if he had hit a grand slam to take the lead.
It's one of those things where, like, when it's within 15 to 20% chance, because you're like,
yeah,
all right, he hit a fly ball to right field.
Right, yeah.
Let's will this into existence, because how crazy would that be if it happens? It was kind of one of those moments, but the sac fly, they needed that run too. So
keep the game going, keep the line moving. Eventually got the lead back with Alec Burleson. What a game yesterday for the Cardinals. You can keep chiming in on how you thought about it and what you think the team could be this year. Also on the Royals as they get started in a little over an hour. But we'll talk some college hoops next. Put together a college basketball rooting guide for the second weekend. Who do you want to see in the Final Four? We'll also have our picks of the week at 5:25 on The Big Show.
Hi, it's Hillian Hart. This December, let's make some Christmas magic together in Europe.
Join us December 6th through the 14th for Colette's European Christmas Markets Tour.
We're heading to Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest.
Think holiday shopping, amazing food, and that once-in-a-lifetime Christmas feeling everywhere you go.
And since Colette takes care of the flights, hotels, meals, and local experiences,
you can focus on having fun.
Get the full trip details now. Go to 943kat.com. Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. That's right. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Thursday, April 23rd, Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Ed Benkin. Tiger Woods has been arrested at a car crash scene in charge of driving under the influence with property damage and refusal to submit to a lawful test. Martin County Sheriff says Woods showed signs of impairment after he struck another vehicle and rolled his vehicle over.
So the question will there be any follow-up testing? The answer is no. He has a right to refuse that test. There's a Florida statute which he will be charged with for refusing to take that test, but we will never get definitive results as to what he was impaired on at the time of the crash.
Woods was not injured in the accident. The basketball March Madness continuing. The Sweet 16 will tip off in an hour on the men's side with Duke and St. John's. Meanwhile, the women's action continues. They've just reached the half of the ESPN top-ranked UConn leading North Carolina 28-20. Earlier, 6-seeded Notre Dame took out second-seeded Vanderbilt 67-64. Also coming up on ESPN, Minnesota, UCLA, Duke, LSU. In baseball, according to ESPN's Jeff Passan, the Orioles and pitcher Shane Baz have agreed to a new deal. It's a 5-year deal worth $68 million.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
15 to the 10, to the house. Push. Back to the wall. And it's Goddard. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City. To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Well, there's still some college basketball to come, not just tonight, but over the coming weekend. As by the time we talk to you next on the Big Show Monday, we'll have our Final Four set in March Madness. So let's do it. A little college basketball rooting guide coming up here in just a couple of minutes, as I'll probably be rooting for my bracket, if I'm being honest. But let's break down the slate and see where our heads are at on the upcoming basketball. And our picks of the week, we'll carry that conversation forward, as I've got a chance to close out the producers in Andy for the season championship. But I have a feeling there are going to be some fades in store to go all or nothing if you're Andy or the producers trying to finish strong. So picks of the week coming at 5:25. Mizzou baseball coverage will have us out of here a little bit early so we can get you to that. But all that's coming up. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Look, if the Cardinals going to play that way all season long, I don't know how many games they're going to win, but they're sure as heck going to be a fun team that you want to watch night in and night out. 8 runs in the 6th. That followed up 6 runs in the 6th by the Rays for the Cardinals to retake the lead, and they kept it for good. Alec Burleson, the capping home run to give them the 9-7 advantage. They held that towards the end. And JJ Wetherholt, I mean, my take from 2 days ago already with egg in my face on that. Yeah, he might just be fine as a big leaguer and in that top spot in the Cardinals lineup with a home run in an impressive spot. 0-2, being able to hit that pitch out. That was pretty fun. We'll see if the Cardinals can take that series this weekend against the Rays and keep injecting some life into this fan base if they keep winning that way.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
The Royals start tonight at the Atlanta Braves. Most notably, no Jack Caglione in the opening day lineup. Well, when you see that they're facing Chris Sale on the other side, Chris Sale's pretty good against lefties. You kind of understand it, but you put a guy like Carter Jensen in at the DH spot who's also a left-handed hitter instead of Caglione. Maybe a signal that they want to have Jensen have that type of opportunity over a guy like Cags at the moment. I don't think it's the end for Cags, obviously. He's, I think, primed to have a very big year, but maybe ease him into it as opposed to what they did last year, throwing him into an adverse situation right away. We'll see the first time Cags takes the field, I'm sure, fairly soon.
Number 3.
Mizzou baseball and softball. I think with big SEC series this weekend, baseball team at home taking on Texas A&M. That was the only team they beat in conference play last year. Swept them, but they didn't beat anybody else. We'll see if they can take down this Aggies team, who's currently ranked in the top 25, just at number 25 at the moment. Mizzou softball, meanwhile, at Auburn, and I think this is a chance for the Tigers to do some damage. Mizzou's Tigers, in fact, because Auburn seems to be, of the remaining SEC scheduled teams that Mizzou has, the weakest left. Got to get some wins now.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Well, Houston got bounced from the NCAA tournament yesterday, so I need a new team to root for. We're going to put together a rooting guide for the rest of March Madness coming up here in a little bit. I will say, if Michigan can start to really pick things up, they might be my team to pick.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Jackson County released renderings of what they want to do with Truman Sports Complex. One of the renderings had Arrowhead Stadium as a horse race track.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Or text us, 573-875-KTGR.
Oh, brother.
I mean, it's only ideas at this point. It is way far down the line. most of it is just a bunch of like business development when you look at the renderings, like, a few high-rise buildings. I see, some pickleball courts in there. I see some cool fountain type of stuff. And then the stadium is still standing along the area. But when you look inside the stadium, it looks like a horse racing track. Will that be the case? Do we think so? I mean, I have my doubts, but who's to say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, I guess, that they could decide to do with the space. They're going to have some space because they're not going to have any tenants anymore. So,
well, there won't be any Kaufman, right? Like that,
right.
That's probably gone.
Yeah, no reason to probably keep it up.
I just wish they would keep it as a more versatile event space. Whoever might be operating it at the time, I don't even know if the Hunts will still be operating.
Yeah, I don't even know what you like. You can have events there, but it's like it's not going to take on the same tenor. I don't know. Interesting. It's kind of the fallout of an end of an era, really. So be interesting to see how that goes.
And if it actually does well, or if the community around it, if Kansas Cityans are just sort of like, well, I know what needs to be there. I know what I remember is there. I want to keep going there. If it's just a bunch of mini malls and things like that, I don't know. I again, not to be too poo-poo on it, but it's hard to envision it as anything different.
Well, we're still a little bit of ways away from it happening, but it is going to change. I mean, that part seems inevitable at this point.
So we'll see what they end up leveling, what they end up leaving up, what they decide to build. But interesting that they just went ahead and revealed, like, hey, here's an idea, turn it into a racetrack for the horsies. And that could bring a whole other wrinkle to damn that sire, I suppose. But
I guess it would, huh?
We could play that every week if we wanted to.
If we wanted. It would be possible, in theory.
We still could. 875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text here. All right, who are you rooting for in March Madness now that, your bracket's probably busted because you had Mizzou going all the way, but...
No.
That
I was all too aware of what could happen there, so...
Yes.
The Mizzou-Miami matchup was merely another first-round victory for Brendan in his bracket. Not proud to say it, but it is the way I picked it. My son, on the other hand, he did have Mizzou winning the whole tournament. I haven't had the heart to tell him that it's not allowed. The other day, I guess he asked Emily.
Not allowed? For them to not win the tournament.
It's genuinely not allowed for them to not win the tournament.
No.
Asked if the SEC tournament was over. He wanted to know.
So like maybe if we don't win this one, maybe we can win that one if that's still good.
Maybe he thinks we get another crack in Nashville. I don't know. I guess he heard me talking about the SEC tournament, so he just wanted to know if it was over.
Go to the consolation bracket, to the wrestlebacks,
Maybe we get some wrestlebacks from Mizzou. You never know. But in the event that does not happen, I'm kind of at a crossroads here because my bracket, I think, is pretty chalky with what remains. Like I got Duke, I got Michigan, I got Iowa State. Those three teams are favored tonight. I do have Michigan State over UConn, and that's one that is a little bit of a tighter spread, but UConn is the favorite. And so, what's the direction? I mean, that'll be my rooting interest is Sparty tonight to see if they can upend the Huskies. But other than that, like my bracket's chalk. So do I root for upsets or do I root for chalk? I think there's an argument to be made, Andy, at this stage of the tournament. We've already got Iowa advancing to the Elite Eight. That's like your cool storyline, getting the 9 seed in there. I think it would be not the worst thing in the world if we get some other 1 seeds and the top teams, the best competition to give us largely a very compelling weekend. Like Illinois versus Iowa, that's a 3 versus a 9, 2 teams that are not the chalk. Illinois barely not the chalk, but Houston had the better seed. And that'll be fun. It's a Big Ten game, so I feel like that's going to make it close. Kind of think that ends up being a close game. But otherwise, I'm cool with the other 1 seeds just want to advance to the Final Four. And I'll even say like Iowa State, I think would be really a compelling team if they get their guy Joshua Jefferson back healthy and if he can contribute. I think they'd be a fun Final Four team. But like by the time we get to next weekend, we would have some really damn good basketball if it's like Duke, Illinois, and Arizona, Michigan. We love the upsets in the March Madness, but by the time you get to
At this
stage,
point, we don't want the upsets. We want to see the best.
I want
best
close games tonight. I want Michigan State to beat UConn simply because of my bracket, but I think the best games this weekend will be made from Iowa State taking on Michigan and Duke being in that game in their region. And I think whether it's Duke against Sparty or UConn, you're probably, you're getting some quality teams in there. But and Rob Veno's talking about the spread with Iowa State. There's uncertainty surrounding Jefferson, even still, whether he'll be able to play and what he'll be if he does. And yet Tennessee is only a 3.5 point. They're an underdog by 3.5 points. So that doesn't really speak kindly on Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee would show well against a Michigan. Alabama, I don't know. I actually thought they'd have a harder time with Texas Tech, and they blew them out.
Yeah.
So maybe Alabama, Michigan is more compelling tonight than we think. But at the same time, Michigan's my champion. I mean, I put them in my bracket. I think Michigan's a pretty darn good team.
Out of all the 1 seeds, that's the one that I would want to see win it the most. Yes,
really?
Me. Yeah, I like that.
Is
I
that
think they're the most
because
fun.
you like Dusty May,
Yeah.
or is that what's the reason there?
Yeah, I'm a Dusty May fan. I think the way that he's turned that place around, and it's hard to say turned around because Juwan Howard had a couple good years there, but you could tell that it was really souring. Like, it's not a place that it's hard to get the support, obviously. But it does take a coach like that. Sometimes an up-and-comer coach gets overwhelmed by that, and I've been impressed by how Dusty May hasn't been. Like, he uses it to his advantage.
And I never really liked the fit of Juwan Howard there. He really, if you look at his tenure, he really had the quintessential take over something, that's pretty good at the start and then find a way to, over the course of a handful of years, just let it get pretty dilapidated. Yeah. They went 8-24 his last year.
That's bad.
John Beeline's last year, they finished 8th in the AP poll. And then Howard took it over, didn't make the tournament in his first year, had really one solid, successful year in his second season. But from there, it was just nope, downward trajectory. So I think it's what you said at first, Andy. It is a case where Michigan, you're able to get the support and you get the right coach in there. It shouldn't be rocket science to figure this out. Now, Michigan's not like this lovable underdog, but I think he's a likable coach, Dusty May. I like him. I would be fine with them having success. Duke, it's Duke. And so we're always kind of looking for reasons to discount the programs like Duke, the blue bloods. Like, Michigan's not a blue blood. It's a noteworthy program, but it's not in the category of Duke. And I'm always going to find myself probably rooting against the Dukes of the world.
Yeah.
But I also generally want the Dukes of the world to be in the championship game so I can root against them. So you give me Duke, Michigan. I think even Illinois, Michigan, you get the Big Ten ad nauseum with that. I think Arizona against either of those teams, I think that's good. Iowa State, I really have liked that team this year. There's not a lot of ways to go wrong unless Iowa State succumbs to not having their full roster and the strength of that, and they lose to Tennessee. That would be probably the biggest bummer that I could come up with from this round, because that Tennessee team just does not, I don't know, they don't intrigue me, Andy. And maybe it's sour grapes because we beat them, but we're not still dancing. But I don't think it is. I think it's just, I'm not compelled by the Tennessee team this year.
Who are you rooting for in the second weekend of the NCAA tournament? Call or text us 573-875-KTGR. I don't know why, but Purdue's starting to grow on me a little bit too.
Yeah, it's like we've come full circle on thinking you're overrated. Now it's like, are you slightly underrated?
Yeah, you're
because we've gone so many years of thinking, can't really trust them.
Right.
I had that experience filling out my bracket where I was like, what if Purdue, what if we can trust them now? And this is the year they kind of sneak up on us and make a Final Four. I say sneak up on us. It's as a 2 seed. We knew their little pod was pretty weak. We were counting paths for Missouri if Missouri had won a game. So I was kind of wanting to buy in, and I wasn't bold enough. I I bought in and just said, hey, can one player carry you? And the answer I think at this stage is no, but I was like BYU guy. And so I had BYU going really far. And that was my undoing. If I had just been normal about that bracket and said, hey, Purdue, nailed the Big Ten tournament. They're pretty damn good. Let's just give them their credit rather than look for reasons to, think somebody's going to upend them. If I had just been normal about that, my bracket would be singing right now. But yeah, it would not surprise me one bit at this point if Purdue were to win and get into the Final Four. Yeah.
And once I get there, they've already beaten Michigan, right? Like that was in the Big Ten championship.
I think it's tough. I really do think it's tough to bet against any of the 1 seeds, but yeah, I mean, we did see that, didn't we? We saw it on neutral floor, and but it feels like that's the get back would be there for Michigan. I think Purdue against Arizona is the matchup that they would have to get there, and I would be compelled to just see that be a close game that goes down to the wire. I think we're going to get some good ones. I do. I think I don't know about tonight. There'll probably be like one really good one. But I think the weekend will bring some good ones, and the Final Four should set up pretty well. I'm not going to say Iowa can't do it against Illinois. I guess that's the question. If you're a Mizzou fan, how do you feel about this Iowa team where there's this kind of haze and cloud over it, if it's real or imagined, but it's like this guy was at Northwest Missouri State.
And I think at that time, Mizzou fans were probably endeared by him. Like, this is a darn good coach right here, and I kind of like
Mizzou fans probably thought we could do better. We could do better than D2. Just being honest, I don't recall hearing a ton of
there wasn't like a whole let's hire him, because I think that was right after Gates. I
was going to say the timing was off a little bit as well.
But I'm saying Mizzou fans were paying attention to what was happening over in Northwest Missouri and saying that's starting to get going a little bit. And then that guy goes to Drake, and they continue to be sort of endeared by it. And that made a lot of, at the time when that was the draw last year, Mizzou versus Drake, there were some Mizzou fans who were like, I'm a little conflicted because I liked that guy over at Northwest Missouri State.
There were people in that town. I mean, we got callers talking about that, they root for Mizzou as the default, but this is the one matchup they didn't want to see because they found that coach to be so likable and followed him to, carry a fandom to Drake. So I do think that the Iowa thing, I am kicking myself. I got so busy yesterday. I totally said I was going to bet Iowa to beat Nebraska. I'm like, Iowa is an underdog, but I just think they're going to win. They just match up really well. They're a very balanced team. And I didn't see a second of that game because of everything going on in Busch. So that's a regret from yesterday. But now Iowa, Illinois, I want to make sure to, try to catch some of that one. And I think it can be a fun game. I want Illinois as a 3 seed in my bracket. I think would really be a nice feather in my cap, but I don't know. The bracket's probably not going to work out anyway. It never does. So
no, it never does.
Even though I still feel like, hey, I'm alive.
I hold out hope every year, and I'm like, I'm glad that I was killed early in that.
Rarely
context.
do I make it this far where I'm like, actually, this thing's still kind of got some legs, but I'll try to be happy with either outcome there because I think it will be compelling regardless whether Illinois gets there, because I think they're the better team, but I think Iowa there's a lot to like about them, and they could do it. They could win another Big Ten game over Illinois. It's kind of crazy. They had one over Nebraska. Now they'd have to do it again, but
Illinois won that game by 6 earlier in the year, and I think it was at Iowa. So Illinois got it done there. But hey, another time around, you never know. Iowa's playing hot right now. Have you seen Bennett Sturtz, the stat of he's played every minute of this tournament? He's got no turnovers and 1 foul. That's it. It's insane, man.
He's a really good winning player that, he just wins.
That's all he does.
Maybe Ben McCollum is a Bennett Sturtz merchant. I don't know, because the coaches get a lot of the credit, but this guy's been there for all of it too. So he's a really good player, and he'll give Illinois, I think, everything they bargained for and then some. Are you rooting Iowa or are you rooting Illinois? I'll put you on the spot.
Oh, I'm rooting Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah. Rooting for the upset.
Like, I think for most Mizzou fans, it's an easy call.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I
Not
still
like-
think a lot of them have the type of, not fandom, but they are still endeared to what Ben McCollum was doing at Iowa, unless you have this hatred for Iowa. No one here has ever spewed hatred about Iowa on this show, right?
I mean,
Never.
not anybody that I can think of. Normally reserved for their football program, though, to be
Okay,
clear,
yeah, very good.
in the way they play.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there could be people that are like, I just can't look at these guys anymore because of the Drake thing. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. But I don't find it that. I find them endearing in the colors they're wearing, and I flush the Drake thing from my memory as much as I can because it was not fun. But yeah, I don't think I can actually root against my bracket. So I'll want Illinois to win, but if it's there in the end, it'll be kind of like it was against Florida, where I was like, ooh, I have a personal interest in Florida winning this game. But if Iowa does it in a cool way, I'm going to be like, man, that was cool. And that's kind of what my reaction ended up being in the previous round.
Call or text us. Who are you rooting for in the NCAA tournament the rest of the way? Call or text us 573-875-KTGR here on the Big Show. So yeah, I hope it is Iowa. I'll say I hope it's UConn, actually. I'll kind of hold out hope on that one part of my bracket.
Okay.
That I had.
Yeah, I'm Michigan State all the way with that one. That would be a good upset that a lot of people, I don't know, maybe some people have it, but
yeah. I'd rather see Michigan against Arizona, because that would be the one. Like, if there's really a UConn Iowa, people are kind of okay, yeah, UConn's winning this one. Let's get to the matchup that we would really want to see. And I think at this point, on that side of the bracket, Michigan and Arizona would be electric. I think Purdue being there also would be it. There'd be intrigue with it.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong on that side of the bracket unless
Yeah.
Tennessee sneaks in. That's the one that
It's
I'm like,
true.
I don't want to
Yeah.
see them play another game. I like Iowa State. I get it that they're a little bit undermanned right now, but I want to see them win this one. That's my strongest rooting interest, I think, for tonight's games. But then I will have a hard time if they beat Michigan as well, because I really wanted to pick it. And I just couldn't get over the hump because I didn't trust the other teams to win it all. For whatever reason, I'm like, I trust Michigan to win it all once they get there. So those will be kind of my rooting interests for tonight. And by the way, you rooting for Duke to go down, or do you think Duke makes for a better Final Four if St. John's tonight?
No, sure, they can lose. Whenever they feel like they want to lose, go ahead and lose.
Yeah, I think that's right, but I'll be fine if they win. I won't be upset about that.
St. John's in that spot would be very intriguing.
I don't think they can score enough to hang with Duke. Like, I just don't think that they've got the scoring to do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. That's why they play the games. We'll see what happens tonight and the rest of the weekend, and who moves on to the Final Four a little bit later. Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR. We've got picks ourselves. Brendan has a chance to clinch the season-long picks today. We'll see if he can do that next on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. If you want the tire experts, if you want the largest selection, if you want a team that you can trust. Hello?
Nope.
worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Hypnosis only $59.99. Thursday, April 23rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
The best thing about spring is that there's no single best thing about spring. It's all good. Golfing, peeing off the deck. Grilling, peeing off the deck. You can do everything outside again.
Peeing off the deck.
Practice your aim at cornhole and peeing off your crutch's deck. You don't want to hit those railing posts. All the beauty and fun of spring just go better with Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. See what they can do for you at CrutchesCustomExteriors.com.
The dawn chorus of birdsong, the calm trickling of streams, wind rustling through new leaves, bees busily buzzing, friends and family laughing and enjoying the outdoors again. You used to be able to hear all of the sounds of spring, but your hearing is faded, and spring plays more like a silent film now. So it will be all the more wonderful when you experience spring again, like your first movie in Dolby Digital.
Hearing Aid Consultants and Allmaker Repair Lab in Jefferson City. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow.
What happens when a chef, 2 pharmacists, and a financial analyst walk into a bar? They buy it. And then they tell people from all walks of life to come enjoy it with them. Big flavors, bigger burgers, local brews, handcrafted drinks, and a game of pool or two. See, Billiards was built by people like you. A teacher, a receptionist, and a cashier walk into Billiards. What happens next is up to you.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
Call your shot at billiardsonbroadway.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy, Brendan, and joining us on the KTGR hotline, producer Billy, as we get set for the penultimate picks of the week for this 25-26 season. Yes, only 2 weeks left, with it being second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Next weekend will be the Final Four, and that's when we end it. And with that, let's check the standings. And, well, Brendan, you're not closing it out the way that you probably should. You gotta nip this in the butt. Well, you went 1-4 this past week,
man.
And the producers, who really are the only team that can catch you, they went 4-1. So they made up some ground. Now, it's still a long shot. Brendan, I believe, if I do the math, you have a 7.5 game lead.
Looks about right.
Yeah. So you can clinch it still, but one bad week, one more bad week by Brendan, another good week by the producers makes
it could be striking distance.
Very interesting next week. So, Billy, big week for you. Is it time to employ any strategies at this point?
Yeah, Billy, where do you want me to pick?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question. Is it my choice?
It will be your choice. Yeah, you were 4-1. I was 3-2 last week. Brendan 1-4.
I don't want to put him in the hot seat, but I'm going to be strategic because I got some stuff I like. So Brendan can go third, Andy second. I'll go first.
Okay, so Billy's going to go first here. Very good. So the games we have available to be picked, all of the men's college basketball NCAA tournament matchups that we know of, 4 tonight, 2 of them tomorrow, and then same thing with women's college basketball. They're starting the Sweet 16 today, but they already played a couple games. One of them is still in progress now. So 2 more tonight and then 4 more tomorrow on the women's bracket, and then a few NBA games to also cap it off. So producers will start picks of the week. Go ahead, Bill.
I think Iowa State's just a better version of Tennessee. I think they rolled tonight. Give me the Cyclones.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
-4.
Yeah.
Man, I kind of like that pick. There's an angle here where all I do is fade Billy and really just invite the chaos if he thinks he's so smart, but I kind of do like that pick. I don't want to pick Tennessee, so I don't know if I can play that way.
Man, all right. Trying to see if I like Tennessee myself. See if I'll fade him right away. I don't think I will. I think I'm going to go I'm going to take Michigan. I think they crush Alabama tonight. I really do. Michigan has shown all year that they're a level above Alabama, even though Bama at times has looked pretty solid themselves, but I just don't like the way that they're trending now. And Michigan, they're on a warpath. Give me Michigan -9. I know it's a big number, but they'll lay it.
I got a couple of teams that I like right now. I'm not going to get into the headspace and try and mess with Billy just yet. Oh, boy. I got two I like. One of them I think Billy's more inclined to like than the other, but I don't know. It just, part of me would be sad if I don't get to pick this. So give me Iowa +6.5. I want to continue to get to root for the fun story with Sturts and McCollum and those guys. I like them a lot better in Iowa uniforms than I did in Drake uniforms. I will say that much. But Iowa +6.5. I do have Illinois in my Final Four for my bracket, so that's still alive. But I think that Iowa can continue to play well and at least keep it close.
Okay, Billy, round 2.
I'll be honest, Arizona's rolling right now. If they were playing the 98 Bulls, I might pick them to win. So give me Arizona with points.
Man, feels right. Sort of.
Billy likes some favorites right now.
Does.
Arizona is, how heavily favored are they over Purdue?
-6. Yep.
Which tough line.
It's in the, because it's free throws can extend it out to 7 or 8 very easily at the end of that game, even if it might be close throughout. That's what you're in danger of. Yeah, for now, I'm gonna stay away from the other side, but that's another one that I'm like, maybe I come back to it. I'm gonna dive into the women's bracket here and take Oklahoma. I think this spread is a little too much. Oklahoma was a really good team this year, and they're 17.5-point underdogs against South Carolina. I know that South Carolina is a different animal, and this is the time when they really show it. But they can stay within 17.5 points, I believe Oklahoma can. So I'll take those points myself and say that Oklahoma at least loses by maybe 14 or 15.
Okay. I am really considering my options here. Let's see. Michigan's been taken. Nobody's weighed in on Michigan State UConn tonight. We got UConn -1.5. And there's been a side every other game but this one. I'll go ahead and say that Duke figures it out. I do worry a little bit for St. John's ability to score. It could be a very low-scoring game, which oftentimes tend to favor the underdog, but I think Duke can pull away late, has just the more balanced team, and this is where that lack of balance and the lack of efficiency on the offensive end may show up a little bit for St. John's. Duke -6.5.
All right, round 3, producers.
For just that reason, I'll take the other side. I do think Duke's going to win, but I think this is going to be a really fun matchup. I think Pitino will have his guys ready to go, and I think they cover that 6.5.
Okay.
I like it better when I'm the aggressor fading rather than you immediately fading my pick. That kind of has me on my heels, I'll admit.
You're the hunted right now.
Producers do need to do a little bit of that at this point so they can catch up 7.5 games by you. But we'll see how much they decide to do that going forward. Okay, I will go ahead and take Purdue. I think they'll stay within the number against Arizona, even though I believe that Arizona will win the game. But it seems that a team like Purdue has played like, at least from how I've watched them, one of the best teams in this field so far. And I think they'll still show that even with how good Arizona is. So it kind of shooting the moon a little bit to have them stay within 6, but still thinking that Arizona is going to win the game. I think 6 is a spot where they can maybe use those points to stay a little bit closer. So I'm going to take Purdue tomorrow +6 against Arizona.
I feel like this game between UConn and Michigan State tonight should be like a pick 'em, a coin flip. Rob Veno mentioned liking the depth of UConn. I do think my bracket has Sparty in this one. I'm going to take UConn, though, because it feels like if I'm taking Michigan State, maybe Billy takes the other side, and that makes me double sad if I lose it. So it's like an emotional hedge against my bracket. Like, I got such a big lead, guys. I'm just playing games right now. So UConn -1.5. What's the worst that could happen?
I mean, is he really doing this? Like, he's just, Harlem Globetrotters in this thing. Like, sure, throw it up. Yeah.
I got a 3-putt to get this done for me, so I just have to.
Yeah.
I just have to get a little bit of luck here.
All right. Doesn't come back to bite. Producers, round 4.
Go Green.
The week. Yeah.
Go Green.
Love it.
He's
Party
going
plus
right
1.5.
at it. Yeah. Do it right away.
I was kind of hoping he would, too. Like, look, man, I think it would be interesting. I get my Sparty pick through. Maybe that loss is what keeps Billy within shouting distance of me going into the final week. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. We don't mind a little manufactured drama here in the Big Show.
Yeah. Why not? I think the producers are trying to climb back that way. We'll see. I'm going to go back to the women's tournament. What's that? Oh, no. Anyway.
Is Billy gone?
I don't know where Billy went. He's still here. TCU -9 in the women's tournament. They're taking on Virginia. Virginia was the only double-digit seed to make it to the second weekend on the women's side. I think this is where they run out of steam. TCU's pretty darn good, and it's a 9.5-point spread. I think they do win this game by double digits. Give me TCU -9.5.
Man. I don't want to have to pick the NBA. I really don't want to have to do that. The Tennessee thing, it could be a close game, but that's just not a very big number. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tennessee +4. I don't have a great reason for it, but it's very funny if I end up following Billy's pick and getting the right answer, despite him leading off the board with the Iowa State pick. So let's just roll with it.
All right. One more round left. Goes the producers first. What's your pick, Billy?
Smarts. Cinderellas are fun. Greg Jones, UVA alumnus. So let's take the Wallows. They've been rolling on the women's side. I'll say they cover that 9.5 against TCU.
Okay, so you challenge me right there. All right. See how that goes. Oh, man. Now I'm down to some limited options myself.
Last pick.
Yeah, last pick. There are some big numbers. The only big number I really liked on the women's side was the Oklahoma one. There's some others here. Texas is a 14.5-point favorite against Kentucky. It's another all SEC matchup in the Sweet 16. UCLA's 18.5-point favorites against Minnesota. That's another large spread that if you really wanted to take the points, you could take Minnesota. But I don't know. The number seems right. I'm kind of talking through it as I go. I was also kind of looking at maybe some of the other picks up top. I don't know. I'm going to take Texas -14.5. The team that I think is most likely to cover their big number is that team. They are actually the team that I picked to go all the way in my women's bracket, and they're 14.5-point favorites against Kentucky. And I think this is maybe a more lopsided matchup that I think Texas can handle pretty well. So I'm going to take the Longhorns -14.5 against Kentucky in the women's bracket.
The close NBA spreads are nothing I'm interested in. The Thunder -19.5 over the Bulls. I usually like those big numbers. That's a really big number.
Yeah.
I'm going to root for this outcome because I think it would be most entertaining tonight. Alabama +9. I'll roll another fade at you guys and just hope that we get a compelling game. If Bama's able to put it in the basket and score with Michigan for a little while, that's a game that I probably like the over. Give me Alabama +9, just hoping that they keep it close and entertaining.
Okay, so we'll see if that's a clinching week for Brendan or if the producers have found a way to climb back even further and actually make it somewhat doable next week to mount the furious comeback. And we'll see how these picks do through all of that. Thanks for joining us here on The Big Show. Also, thanks to Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com for coming on earlier. We've got Mizzou baseball coming up next. Tigers taking on Texas A&M at home to start off a 3-game series, looking to improve on their 1-5 record in conference play. You'll hear the series all weekend on KTGR. Facts and Matter standing by. We'll get you to them in just a few minutes. And we will see you again at 4 o'clock to react to the whole weekend, the first full weekend of Major League Baseball, the Final Four being set, and so much more. So join us for that coming up next Monday. He's Brendan. He's producer Billy. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Player of the Week.
This week features Battle junior high jumper Xavier Wandry. In his first meet of the season, Xavier broke his own school record by clearing a height of 2.05 meters. His jump is the highest mark in the state of Missouri and 25th highest in the country among high school high jumpers.
That's the Power Player of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Hi, it's Hillian Hart. This December, let's make some Christmas magic together in Europe.
Join us December 6th through the 14th for Colette's European Christmas Markets Tour.
We're heading to Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest.
Think holiday shopping, amazing food, and that once-in-a-lifetime Christmas feeling everywhere you go.
And since Colette takes care of the flights, hotels, meals, and local experiences,
you can focus on having fun.
Get the full trip details now. Go to 943kat.com.
We're trying to save people money. Go.
What if we cut sandwiches into thirds instead of halves?
We could stop buying warranties and just hope.
What about switching our toilet paper to half ply?
You.
It doesn't take a terrible think tank to save money. Just shop at Family Pawn. They've got jewelry, electronics, tools, and gifts for way less. No sacrifices, no half-ply TP. Ugh.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
You could be right in the middle of celebrating a big win, and all of a sudden, bang, you've got ants on the counter or mice in the garage. Hi, I'm Mike Kelly. As someone who's called buzzer beaters and game winners for 3 decades, I think the best call that you can make is to Steve's Pest Control. I'm on the road a lot during the season, which is why I've signed up for Steve's 5-star pest control program. It's comforting to know that even when I'm not home, Steve's Pest Control is protecting my house from termites and other pests. Plus, the 5-star program keeps the pests at bay, controlling and eliminating them before they have a chance to enter your home. Scheduling is incredibly easy. You don't even have to be